I will bring up the
Good.
principles. And that's in the wrong order. Hold on a second.
7:30.
So, Gary, you can be number 1, Jen number 2, Joe number 3, Stan 4, and I'm number 5. Ready, set, go.
Okay, here we go. The purpose of the mastermind is to learn leadership, build teams, and create multiple sources of income together.
You there, Jen?
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success, as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. There is no multitasking or distractions during meetings.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and we listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
Oh, me. We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Stan.
Noble Goldman International is conscious, aware, and engaged global community of abundance and freedom creators.
Our mission is to create 1 million millionaires who are free from the time for money paradigm. We focus on creating multiple streams of income through masterminding, team building, and the effective utilization of the internet-based platforms.
The mastermind becomes an opportunity for self-mastery, where the self-transcendent shift from the me to the we to the us occurs. As congruence and engagement increases, the world's consciousness is then raised one meaningful and inspired relationship at a time.
Thank you. Okay, as it's funny, but I struggle to find what we're going to talk about in the beginning, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then something happens and it's like, okay, here we go. What do you think, Gary? And this week, there's been some interesting conversations in some of the Gold Star calls, which are at a different level to the free ones that we do, where people talk a lot more openly about how things are actually going for them. And in this particular call, there was a coach who was experiencing a lot of frustration with not getting where she wanted to go as quickly as she wanted to get there, and just really frustrated, almost to the point of wanting to give up. And it kind of made me think that, yeah, actually, and you know, up until that point, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm plodding along, I'm just doing what I need to do, and things will happen in their own time. But after listening to it, it's like, you know what? No, it needs to happen a bit faster than this. And it just made me think, if other people are having a little bit of frustration in achieving what they set out to do, and maybe losing a bit of focus because of it. And yeah, I thought that might be an interesting conversation to lead with.
Who wants to start on that one? Because I could talk a lot about that. Stan, you're laughing. You still have the light on you. Do you want to start?
It says the light's behind me. Yeah, so I am working on starting my coaching business and kind of run into that COVID stuff, as well as, hey, most of my jobs got shut down a a couple of the casual jobs kind of came back again, but one of my jobs is like shut down completely. So I've kind of applied for over 200 jobs and not got very far. Including things like people said, "Oh, just get a job at Coles and Kmart and stuff like that," and you're like, either not got the experience or, you know, get a job at Hungry Jack's, and they're like, "Well, I kind of figure that I'm too old and they're not employing you," so you kind of end up in a frustrating world of, "Hey, I don't have any clients and I don't have a job."
Okay. So I always look, Stan, and I think that what we need to do is like present an issue, and then we all kind of look at how we can actually contribute some information to Stan or some perspectives. Does that sound good?
The good news is I've kind of used the time as, hey, I can do lots of coaching, and I kind of figured out last year that I've pretty much done the equivalent of a full-time uni degree.
Good.
Of a 3-year degree in 1 year, because I just was like, I got nothing else to do. I will just watch videos and coaching stuff and smash out like 4 to 6 hours a day.
What have you learned? Has it built your skill to the point to where you're attracting clients to you yet?
Not really. That's the kind of the next step, is that I'm working on that at the moment, is the client base. But I've kind of done all the, looked at different coaching modalities and that sort of stuff. So now we're on the client attraction work and marketing skill stuff.
Okay. And welcome, Tony. I see you have landed. There's a great book that I'd like to suggest you, Stan. It's called Traction. And Traction, it's put out by a company called EOS. And EOS is the entrepreneurial's operating system. And there's lots of different aspects to EOS. There's approximately 6 quadrants of creating a small business, and the 6 things you really have to focus on in order to create a small business and have it be successful. But I'm going to just only talk about the first one, because that guides all your marketing efforts, all your marketing copy, all of it. It guides everything. You have to be able to have your vision, your mission, vision, and values firmly identified as to what your brand differentiating qualities are as a coach, and why you're different from the other 100,000 coaches that are out there. So in order to define that, you really have to look at, doing a values elicitation, not only for yourself personally, like what your personal values are. And V's really good at this. You guys should be using V. If you need to launch a business, you guys really need to look at, you're going to need some help, because it's really hard to create something out of generally the confusion that we all go through when we're trying to start a business. And I know that what we do, I'll just speak for myself. What I've done is I'm thinking of 100,000 different things that I need to be doing to create a business, but actually they're only in 6 really simple components. But the vision, mission, and values, everyone says, oh, well, you need to do that. But what most people don't emphasize is how that guides every interaction, your website copy, your blog copy, any articles you write. All of it goes back to, what do I believe? What makes me distinctive? What am I trained in? What do you have to begin to start looking at? What is your brand differentiator? So,
actually,
first step.
Jan,
yes.
Jan did the values elicitation with me. How did you find it, Jan?
It was pretty challenging, but I'm waiting for our next session to go through it.
Yeah, it makes you think, doesn't it, Jan?
It sure does.
Yeah.
And so much more wants to come in, and you just focus on a little bit.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Stan, this is a process of doing contrastive analysis in the value stuff. And what you think your values actually are, when you do contrastive analysis, it actually ends up being quite different. So what we need to do, oh, well, let me see, what are the others? Okay, I'll get to that, Tony. I'll probably have to break out some notes here because I don't think I've got it all commanded to memory, but I'll get to it. But the values, mission, and vision, like the vision is where you're going. The values are about what you stand for, and your mission statement is more about, it's not only what you stand for, but it is about taking the values and defining it into a statement about what it is your coaching, means and why you do what you do. So it becomes a really important place that if you haven't defined it yet, you need to get that defined. And then that starts to guide everything else. It guides how you show up for people. It guides how you open up each session, is to have that definition really, really clear for you. And we think it's simple. We think we can do it just with our conscious mind. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Or, yeah, that sounds good. Or, look what other coaches are saying. And I'll take that one. Yeah, that sounds good. But if it's going to have power, it has to come from the depth of you. So this becomes a really, really important first step in the entrepreneur's operating system. Like super important first step. So let's see, can I get up there? I don't know how to minimize this. Let me see if I can. I'm not going to have time to. I want to answer Tony's question, but I have to get into some files to actually do it, Tony. I know, several of them. Several of them is, of course, your people, how you interact with people. If you don't have employees, you got to make sure that you have the right people in the right roles. Eventually, you will need someone to do your back end stuff. A place called Upworks. You may want to write that down. Stan, Upworks is a online sort of virtual assistant platform, very inexpensive. I have a guy named Fariz in Pakistan who goes through LinkedIn and identifies all the HR heads in major companies for me. Gives me identifies in what company they're in. I told him this is a criteria. It's like they have to be working for a company with 500 or more employees and blah, blah, blah. And then he gets their LinkedIn in-mail address and sends it to me. Then I have my office person send out invites to connect. And then I can then promote to those folks once I get them to accept me as a LinkedIn person. But the Upworks platform has a whole variety of different people, marketers and bloggers and people that can actually assist. Very cheap. I think Fariz costs me, what is it? It's like $5 an hour. That's not a lot of money, to have someone do all that back end work for you. So that's a resource as well. Get the right people, know the right resources, and then you'll begin to start looking at how you can move at least some of the stuff you don't know how to do or can't do. You can find someone inexpensively to help you. I don't know about you, Stan, but I know for myself, when I first started doing business, it was overwhelming. Right? Yeah, it can be overwhelming. And let me ask you this.
It carries on being overwhelming, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Don't tell him that, Tony.
But it's fun. It's fun.
But it is fun.
It doesn't flow smoother later.
No, it does. It truly does. You get into a system, you get into a routine, and it does get easier, and it gets much easier. But I will say this to anyone thinking about starting a coaching practice, especially, is that your success is going to be primarily based upon the results you get with clients. if you have a deep enough training and you have enough skill in your coaching modalities, you'll get results. Those results will turn into a loyal client that will refer 2 to 3 to 5 other people to you. So one of the most, I think, important marketing skills that you can have is the results that you can get. Now, that always depends on it. Everyone's trained a little bit differently. I personally have never been a fan of traditional coaching models. I don't do traditional coaching. And so I work more with the subconscious. I call it coaching for the deeper self. It's kind of the own brand of coaching that I do. I seem to get good results and I seem to get referrals constantly. So I must be doing something right. Other people doing other forms of coaching may be getting the exact same results and getting the exact same marketing benefit. Don't know that. All I know is what I do. But what I would suspect that is super important as you're starting out is find people for free that you can practice with, if you haven't already done that, Stan, because get your modalities down, the ones that you think are like going to be really important for you, and then start practicing with people, because when you practice, you learn at a much deeper level, because people are going to show up and they're not going to show up like you've been taught to work. They're going to show up differently, and what you've been trained in and your scripts and all of that aren't going to work. And then you have to look at them and go, okay, how am I going to navigate around this one? And that's where the creativity and the genius starts to come into alignment. And I'll say this one thing to you, Steve. I get that you've been studying for a while, which I think is awesome. But I got to the point seeing clients that when clients come in to see me, one of the first things I do silently as they're talking to me, I'm praying. I'm praying. I'm saying, God, give me the insight to be able to help this person. Give me the knowledge to be able to help them. I'm trained, but sometimes I can't hear what the problem is yet. And the confusion of their download of their narrative, right? Like I just can't hear it yet. And so I start asking for, I say to myself, I don't see anything I can latch onto yet and actually make a breakthrough for them with. So I'll be praying, God, give me the insight. Let me hear what the blockage is. And I'm give me the strength to help this person. And then all of a sudden they'll say something and I'll go, oh, I know exactly what to do now. And then I'll start working with them. But that one component in any kind of coaching practice, when you're actually sending up a prayer to something higher than you and asking for that power to work through you, is one of the most important aspects of being a coach, in my opinion, that there is. Because you tap into something higher and then good stuff comes out of your mouth. Really good stuff can come out of your mouth. I found myself over the weekend, I was in Phoenix and I was working with this guy. And I think I was on my 5th hour in an intensive coaching session with him. And so I'm getting a little tired out here. And we worked 16 hours over the weekend together. But I remember there was one day for a couple hours, literally, I have no idea what I said to him. Zero. I could not tell you what I said. And then all of a sudden, I was literally, my personality was kind of gone. And he was looking at me and I said, did any of that make any sense to you? Because I can't remember what the hell I said to him. And it happened to be a major football player, star guy, that I'd never worked with before. And he said, that was the most profound thing anyone has ever said to me. I've never thought of my life in that way. How did you know to say that to me? And I said, I don't even know what I said. So what I'm saying to you is that it becomes important for you, Stan, like in your heart and your soul, because you're so well intended, that you learn how to create a connection to something higher. The tools are one thing. The spirit of the wielder of those tools is something really different and essential to the effectiveness of a great coach. Did that make sense? And Tony, do you have something you want to share, my friend? Because I have a sense you just might.
Yeah, very quickly. I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to go in a minute because I'm helping Joe on another call.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, I had exactly the same experience as you, Gary. When you're working with people in real life, it goes in all sorts of directions that you would never see coming. Yeah. And that's when you're absolutely right. That's when you discover yourself as a coach, because you find that the one piece of advice I would give is to be really present with your clients. If you're really focused on them, that's when I found that the insights just pop into your brain out of nowhere, which obviously is coming to you from a higher level, but it's like it's channeling through you. And this has been my experience. I've found myself asking questions and I think, where the hell did that question come from? I don't know, but it was the right question that I needed to ask them that unlocked whatever it was that was going on with them at that moment. Yeah. And that only comes with actual practice, and it comes with being focused on getting the best outcome that you can for that client and really being with them in whatever they're going through. So I'll give you an example very quickly, and then I'm really sorry I have to shoot off. There was one client I was working with who had his partner was his business partner as well, and they'd broken up, and he was in absolute turmoil, really down, depressed, normally a very upbeat person, like the life and soul of the party, and he was really feeling down. And you know, that loss, that not only the loss personally, but also the loss, you know, his sounding board in the business. And there was one morning I went around to see him, and he was really down and was talking about her and what was going on with her and all this. And I asked him what he could find. I can't remember the exact wording now, I have to think about it, but it was something along the lines of, I asked him, what do you like about yourself? And he sat there, and I said, I'd like you to write down. I gave him a piece of paper and a pen. I said, I'd like you to write down all the things that you like about yourself. And he sat there in stunned silence, and he couldn't think of a single thing to write. Mm-hmm. And I just stayed with him in the silence and kept my mouth shut, which was the hardest thing, because you want to leap in, and I left it, and I let him sort of stew on it for a while. And he was really struggling to go, what do I write? And then I said, okay, well, what would other people say about you? I said, wouldn't they say that you were an honest person? So I prompted him the first one. He went, oh yeah, they would. Yeah, definitely. I'm absolutely. And I said, well, write that down. And that's it. And then it opened the floodgates. Then he started, and suddenly he found all these things that he could write about. So what about your staff? What would they say about you? What about your friends? Oh yeah, well, they'd say I was this. And suddenly his whole demeanor started to lift, because he had all this positive coming back to him again about what he would, you know, that he was actually a good guy. He'd just been through a tough time. But he was really in that state of mind where he was just going down and down, and this started to pull him back up again. And that was one of the most profound. I could give you loads of other examples. I'm sure you can too, Gary. But I'd love to hear more of your thoughts than that. I'm so sorry, I've got to cut and run. And yes,
can you stay for 1 minute? I'll give you the other quadrants.
Yeah. Okay.
There they are: data, which is measurables, and a thing called a scorecard. Process, which is, again, having documented techniques of setting goals and tracking those goals. And in that, this is where the traction piece comes in, is that you have certain measurable weekly goals that you track and are accountable for every week. And then you have someone who's going to hold you accountable. So you have meetings that hold you accountable to creating those particular outcomes. And then issues, because issues always come up, you have to be able to create an issues list to write out what the problems are, and then have a coach that is actually going to help you move through those issues with a problem-solving strategy. And V's kind of got that problem-solving strategy. Then the people we've already talked about, and those are the 6 components of an entrepreneurial operating system, which I can go into much deeper a little bit later. But those are the 6 because you asked, Tony. I wanted to follow through and get that to you. But
Okay.
okay, stay good.
See you next week.
Okay, ciao. Bye.
Gary, I have to say that, my goodness, that sounds familiar to the abundance game in Noble Goldman.
I was just gonna say, like, this is, I think Noble Goldman is actually based on the traction system. So when you go into the abundance game and you actually put in your goal about what you want to create, and if it's about marketing, Stan, and if it's about, getting clients to you, start with this, because everything first begins with a thought, and then your follow through and action makes it happen. Now, if I was in your shoes, Stan, what would I do? I would get your vision and mission handled. I would know what your elevator pitch would be for why you're a different type of coach than other people are. And what are the techniques that you use that's going to move people in a particular direction? I would try to discover what the niche is that you want to fit into in coaching, because there's relationship coaching, there's career coaching, there's personal breakthrough coaching, there's coaching for youth, there's coaching for women, there's coaching for men to be better men, parent coaching. There's all kinds of different niches for coaching. The more you start to define it, the more you have the ability to sort of hone your marketing. But because Noble Goldman offers so many different masterminds, I would begin to start looking at which masterminds that you can join, that you can begin to have a platform of why you do what you do and who you are. There has to be like other groups, either Facebook groups or groups that are, around. I just joined this new thing called, what is it called? High Rise. It's more for business. It's more for like people who are working with businesses, but they recruit you. These people found me and recruited me and asked me if I wanted to join. It was pretty expensive to join, but I thought, I'll get more organizational exposure by joining this group, which I've done. Find groups that you can join. There's a little thing in America called BNI, Business Networking International. And you can join a BNI group as a coach, and those people act as referral partners to you. So a BNI group would be really good for you to get involved in, because what you need, Stan, is not only to increase your skill base, because I don't know what your skill base is, but start practicing to hone it, to make it as good as you feel comfortable in. Join a BNI group, get some cards made, go to the BNI group, join a BNI group, and then you get up and you promote yourself in an elevator pitch at every BNI group for maybe, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. Sometimes it's less depending on the group of people. Sometimes it's only 60 seconds, but you start meeting people, you do one-on-ones, you start being able to have a relationship with people that you never would have met before, that are morally obligated to refer clients to different people in the BNI group. You have to refer. So that would be another option for you to begin to start looking at getting business. You have to put more action into the dream that you've got. And this is why, the abundance game and the EOS model is so important, because it forces you set goals, set an outcome, get your vision, values, and mission done, and then start setting milestones along the way that you can measure and then take massive action. Without the massive action, nothing happens. I hope some of that rattling from my mouth helped you, Stan. Okay. I know, Joe, you're doing stuff. Jan, are you, what's your business that you want to work in, or do you want to have a business? Can you refresh my memory?
I'm a local, a Young Living distributor.
Ah, that's right. It's Young Living.
Like to grow Young Living, yeah.
I live on thieves oil, my dear. I do. Like, this is my life, thieves oil. I've had a broken tooth and some other like dental weirdnesses that have happened to me through literally malpractice on dentist's part. And this thieves oil has saved me probably $50,000 in dental work.
Yeah.
So it's been a blessing to me.
Great. It's been great for getting rid of mold in my room here too.
Sweet. So the bottom line for you, you have a goal and a vision for where you want your business to go?
No, I don't.
Well, then
I'm getting a lot out of what you're talking about today.
Yeah, that is really the very first step. And V was absolutely right. The abundance game is such an important part of this equation, because it is almost exactly like the ESO model or the EOS model. But what it does is it gives you a complete system online where you can track it. You can see the graphs of what you've accomplished, what you haven't done. It gives you the ability to create affirmations so that you keep your motivation going, because language creates. So the more that you identify those particular affirmations and speak them, you're speaking that into creation. I've said this before on our meetings, but the Hopi Indians, which are the spiritual leaders of all the North American tribes, they know that there is no future, there is no past, meaning that the only moment of power they have is in this moment right now. Because in this moment, as they speak their word, the future's being created by the words they're speaking. And that the past doesn't exist because all the ancestors and thought forms of their ancestors live in the DNA of their bodies and is accessible to them. So the only moment any of us have to create change, this sacred moment of the eternal now. So when we speak, and especially utilizing affirmations, we start making the future begin to manifest. Now, I know I've said this before, but I'll say it again. If you guys have a vision and goal that you want to achieve in the next year, every night before you go to bed, say your affirmations, visualize a goal being manifested. Go to sleep in the emotional state of that goal being created. Because your subconscious mind, infinite power without direction, takes that feeling and processes it for 6 to 8 hours as you sleep. The most powerful computer on the planet. Why would we want to go to sleep in the emotional state of worrying about Trump and his insanity, or some of the other crazy politicians in Australia? Why would we want to watch the news and go to sleep thinking about all that stuff? We want to be able to use our minds and our creative force to manifest what we desire to bring into creation for ourselves. Now, that does that much good. If it's coupled with massive action, it does that much good. So thought alone needs to be coupled with massive action and strategy. So that's why the Noble Goldman abundance game is so clever, because what it does is it does, I don't know if this was Mark's intent, but it actually does bring together the thought and the action, the goals and the tracking of the goals, the affirmations and the mindset, to help people manifest what it is they want. So if everyone on this call was really committed, especially when you're starting a business, it's scary. It's difficult. There is like no doubt about it. When I first started, I had a closet-sized office, and it was in a chiropractor's office. And I was sharing it with another hypnotherapist. So I think our monthly fee was like $75 a month. So it wasn't a big drain on me. And I would call up everyone I knew and say, well, would you come in and let me practice on you? Like, because I didn't know what I was doing. I opened up my office with a weekend hypnosis certification, which was ridiculous. I knew nothing, but I knew this is what I was supposed to do. And then I took out a credit card. I was making probably $25,000 a year. So I was below poverty level. Took out a credit card, applied for one. I got it. I went and did it. I spent the whole thing on an NLP certification. Lived in my sister's van for 2 weeks, showered at a gym, and I got that certification. I failed the test on the certification because I didn't get half of it. I didn't understand it. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I'm not the smartest knife in the drawer, but I'm bloody determined. And then I went and did another certification, another NLP certification from another company. And then the coin started to click. I must have paid the practitioner certification 3 times. Slow learner. But once I got it, I've got it. And then I'll morph it and I'll make it happen. If this is what you're supposed to do and you feel it in the soul of your body and you feel it in every fiber of your being, do not stop, do not give up. Joe, I'm speaking directly to you. Do not give up. Because quite frankly, it is so important to actually take this drive, this kind of spiritual purpose that you feel like you need to do, and do it to the max. Be a sacred agent of spirit here. Because most people are just asleep and suffering. So when we determine that we're going to do this and we're going to do it no matter what, opportunities start to open. And they will open when your heart is pure about it. When I first started out and I met my beautiful partner, Robert, I'd be like all freaked out. It's like, where the money's going to come from? I have no idea. I've got like 3 mortgages and I don't know nothing on my books and no clients, but I believe people will come. But I was out lecturing all the time. Joe, you want to add something?
I'm just listening to this conversation from beginning to now and just thinking to myself, damn. So like literally I'm on a disability wage. I live, after my insurance is taken out, I live on like $15,200 a year. I have a house to pay for. I have my child to provide for. I've got a vehicle I've got to keep running and all of this. But I am still so dedicated that I don't take much time for myself, but I take the time that I need for myself and my son, and everything else is put to creating this business. And it started off, in my experience, I started off with Reiki. Like Reiki was done on me and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Pardon my French. And I started doing it on people that I was talking to, anybody that was willing. And more recently, I created a poster or a meme or whatever that basically said, free Reiki, hit me up, let's do something. And I've gotten a couple people and I keep drawing others. And all of this really started when I stopped chasing it. I stopped chasing the desire to earn an income better than what I have now. I stopped trying to force what I wanted to happen. I had my dream, I had my vision, I knew where I wanted to end. I did not know how to get there. And that's when I just threw everything up in the air and just said, Spirit, God, source, creator, angels, whoever's out there guiding me, do what you got to do. I will follow you 100%. Give me hints, give me guides, point me where to go, put people in my life, do what needs to be done to get me to that final destination. And, you know, as I said at the beginning of this call yesterday, I finally got my Reiki cert in. There was issues with my mentor who was, you know, helping me get it and whatnot. She wasn't well, so I didn't get it last week like I was hoping, but whatever, a small delay. Delays are going to happen. It's a part of life. Life is controlled chaos is what I basically call life. You can look at it as, you know, that or however you want to see it. But for me, I see it as controlled chaos, because the way everything seems to work and fall into place, it's fucking insane. But at the same time, if you stand back and watch it like I have since I've been disabled and not, you know, able to go to work, I see the world as like worker ants or worker bees. Everybody has their task, everybody has their mission, everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and it all makes the world go round. And, you know, that's why I call it controlled chaos, because it literally, nobody knows what they're doing, but they're all doing what they know they should be doing. Some people are asleep, but they haven't quite woken up yet. Other people know where they want to go and they're fighting to get there. And then, you know, eventually we all get to that point where we want to be. And I mean, sitting back for like the last 10 years or so of my disability, watching all this go on, it's really became a beautiful image just to sit back and see all of these people. And more recently, I was on Facebook and somebody posted something about a crazy ass dream, and I do a little bit of dream interpretation. I'm not the greatest, but I'm working on it, trying to hone myself. So I threw myself out there and I'm like, this is what I get from your dream. She came back and she, like, I mean, the post on the Facebook page was probably like a foot long. I'm trying to read it on my phone, like, damn, this is a lot going on in her life. And I just basically wrote back, listen, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist. I am, you know, I'm just a guy, I'm Joe. But I think I can help you. I think I can help clear your chakras. I think I can help bring a little peace to this chaos that you call life. If you've got an hour here and there, hit me up. I'll do some free Reiki with you and we'll go from there. And today she got in touch with me. She friend requested me and we've been chatting on and off about it. So that whole not chasing it, just let it come to you is really been the new basis of how I am starting, you know, this business from basically nothing. Like I said, I don't have much money. I don't have I've applied for credit cards like you have. They won't give me one. Like, I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know if there's, you know, something on my credit report that they don't like, but I'm in the 700s, so it's not bad credit.
No, that's not bad.
So like the past 6 months is just been so overwhelming yet enlightening to know that if I don't chase after what I want, I'll get it a lot quicker than if I keep running forward. I've always painted the image with people like when I was younger, they always had that fat kid on the cartoon with a fishing pole behind his head or behind his back, and it's hanging a Twinkie in front of his face, and he's always running, trying to catch it. It's like, that's what I was trying to do. I'm trying to catch that Twinkie. And once I stopped, that's when it swung back at me. I'm like, good shit. So yeah. Hopefully
I don't know if the Australians know what a Twinkie is.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just need you to know, because you may have thought it was a fish, but it's a Twinkie.
It's a tasty treat that's made of nothing but fake shit that's bad for you.
Really? Thanks for that, Joe. That was awesome. I mean, the bottom line for every one of us, because, you know, I've been doing this business for a long time. And I'm still adding to my skill base. I'm still studying. I'm still learning stuff, new stuff that I want to learn. And I think it's really important that wherever you are, as soon as you can get the opportunity to learn from someone else with another process, do it. Because it'll continue to increase your ability and your credibility of what you're going to offer other people. The bottom line is just turn into this learning sponge and add as many skills to yourself as you possibly can. Then use the abundance game and really begin to start looking at how you're going to set your goals, your affirmations, and just go for it. Because if you do, what will happen is you'll start getting results. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I think everyone on this call wants to serve other people. We want to serve, we want to be of service, but there's no way that I can emphasize enough that when we surrender and tap into something higher, that what begins to happen, another type of force works through us. And as that force works through us, I think more grace comes. And I love what Joe said too, but my little version of what Joe said was, I just surrender over my life. I ask for that force to work through me and to bring the right clients, the right business opportunities, and the right organizations to work with. And that's how I start every day. So remember, focus the mind, because if you focus the mind, that's where all creation comes from. What you focus on, you make stronger. So the more we do that, the more powerful we become, the more centered we become, and the more success we draw to us. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about the legacies we are building and we will leave. And that legacy isn't built like in 1 year, it's built throughout your life. I will say this as well. I'd highly recommend you guys do some values with V, because you will only allow the level of success to come to you that you feel worthy of receiving. And one thing I discovered in the coaching clients that I have worked with over the 35 years I've been doing this, is that when people are misaligned to their values, and remember the values are unconscious, people will be doing behaviors that betray those values, and they won't even know that they're doing it. They'll just feel depressed, disempowered, hopeless, all those other feelings that go along with inaction. But when people are aligned to their values, what they actually begin to start doing is, once that alignment's made between their word, thought, and behavior in alignment to the values, they get power. And people will only allow the level of success to come to them that they feel worthy of receiving. So if you're misaligned to your values and you're betraying those values, there'll be a part of your self-esteem that will start to nosedive. The more you're in alignment, the higher your self-esteem raises. The higher your self-esteem raises, the more success will come to you. Because the better you feel, the more you look into another person's eyes, and you are in your body, you're grounded, you know your purpose, and you're willing to do it, no matter what. People sense that power, because very few people have that kind of conviction. And if you're going to lead other people, you can only lead people down the road that you have already traveled. You can't lead people down a road you haven't traveled yet. Or at least be willing to co-travel that road with your client as you go down that road. So the bottom line for all of us is, first it starts with our vision and our mission. Next, it starts with data. Have you set your values? Do you know them? Do you have your milestones of the goal that you eventually want to meet based upon the vision you've got? You can track it all through the abundance game. This is why I think Noble Goldman is so handy and so useful, and why so many people need to know about it, because it does give you an inbuilt EOS system if you use it. So a lot has been handed to us, all of us, and I'm probably the biggest offender, because I get so busy. I get exhausted by the end of the day. And I'm just like, I have this much bandwidth and probably just enough to crawl into bed. And so I do that, but I know that Noble Goldman is really providing us a lot of information. And Joe, EOS stands for Entrepreneurs Operating System. Just Google EOS. There's a book called Traction. They've got free forums, they've got all that. But I am saying add that to the abundance game. What the EOS system will give you just a bit more data, but it's kind of all there in the abundance game. So we need to utilize what we've kind of already been given in Noble Goldman. Callie, we haven't heard from you yet. And I know you just sent a heart, which is always lovely. Do you have anything you want to add to or share?
Not really. I was thinking about the value thing you were saying. And
Yeah.
I know for me, like, I've always done spiritual work, like more than business. I've never been a business person per se. I've always been in a team, worked for everyone else, but never in like corporate. Like it's just been, you know, chefing, and I was always the apprentice or the chef under the lead of someone else. And so for me, business is all brand new, because since then, like the last 15 years, I've been a mum and stay-at-home mum, and all I've done for 15 years is spiritual work, like many courses, weekends away from the family, learning about my connection, who I am as a spiritual being on the earth. And so I guess for me, all this business stuff that's I guess how I got to Noble Goldman as well, because I need that support, like I need that learning, and I've never had the financial freedom. When I was a mum, stay-home mum, I had that less availability to hire a coach.
Right.
But then I never asked for it either. Like I didn't ask the universe for that. I was too busy learning personal development, spiritual development, in the aim that it supported my 2 little babies to have a different life to me.
Yeah, I'll throw something out. This was a turning point for me about wrapping more business structure around what I know that, you know, it's my superpower thing that I do. And I thought to myself, I think it was right when I was about maybe mid-50s, and I thought, I can't imagine dying and having the same number of clients or students every year. And I know that I will die unfulfilled if I don't let people see me. And, you know, I've had a big thing around, you know, having a lot more publicity, and I haven't liked it. I haven't wanted it. But then I thought, okay, well, the risk of that is necessary because I do not want to die unfulfilled with what I could have touched, the number of people I could have shared the information with, and I didn't out of some limiting belief. So when I got to that point, I thought I need to wrap business. I have to put my stuff into a workable business model. I have to put myself out there, and whatever comes, comes. But if I don't do it, I will feel like I failed myself and my mission here. So it depends on what you're feeling, Callie. If you feel like your spiritual work and the work that you've been training yourself to do, it's time to have more exposure so more people have that ability to share that information, then you have to wrap a business structure around it.
Yeah, and I get that. And so I'm sort of a bit like, I haven't got the money sitting there to pay for a coach. So in a way, I've been utilizing Noble Goldman that way.
It's
because
perfect.
I've been attending Malik's classes and asking him questions. And I mean, even just listening to you today gave insight to how to use what you've shared plus Noble Goldman in a different way. But I do know that growing up, I never used the opportunity to desire anything for myself. It was always, my parents brought us up that we were always helping others, right? And that sounds a positive, but I never used my imagination to desire any big goal at all.
Well, if your big goal is to share your stuff.
My big goal was just to help. I never put a goal on what help looked like, okay? So my big goal for the last 15 years is to help, and I have helped. For 7 years, I was a peace angel. We traveled the world performing peace movement for wherever we went, in whatever city we went to. There was at least 25 of us. We performed peace as angels traveling. So the thing is, the money would come for that, And I saw that as my service to the divine and to humanity, right? But I never, ever once, because it was a team thing, never once left the team and had my own big end goal of what help could look like in a bigger way. Now, I know I'm powerful like you are and everyone else here. And as soon as we put a goal to that, it'll start manifesting.
Yeah.
My thing is I've always been so stuck in this little small team that wasn't really small, because we're talking, we performed fully channeling Mother Mary and any angel you want to go with, like heaven, whenever we performed as a peace angel. So I know I could ask for anything. I've just never had the use of my mind in that way.
Well, that's why
I don't want to use my mind in that way.
That's why I started with vision. So pick up the EOS book, take a look at it, get the vision first, whatever that vision is going to be for you, and then start looking at using the abundance game to have an actualized step-by-step process of making it manifest.
Yeah, I know my vision recently with what I've done with Malik and Matthew is to help women in Africa and children.
Awesome.
And I know I'm meant to work with mothers that have teenagers, but actually the parents, not the kids, because the ripple effect will change them anyways.
Yeah, it will. And we've gone a little bit over, so
sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay, because I'm really fascinated by what you're doing. I think it's really awesome, and I want to be integrous with the group. Let's do this. V, do you have anything you want to share or say before we call it a day? This meeting went by really fast, didn't it?
I would just like to acknowledge everybody's input, and I love the way that this group, and this is how Gary works as well, is that, you know, we started off talking about a book that has the how-to and, you know, building the business, but we also have the spiritual component of actually tapping into who you are to make that business work and to give to the world what we have. So thank you. It's been beautiful. The best harmony there could be.
And Stan, get out there and kick some butt, buddy. And Joe, thank you so much for your share. And Jan, thank you so much for yours. And Callie, so much for yours. And we will see you guys next week. And we will, we don't know where we'll go, but we will go somewhere. There's always seems to be something that we come up with that that benefits us all. So thank you all for contributing for tonight. And yeah, thank you. Let's leave with just one word like we normally do. So I'm going to start myself. I'm going to say the word action. V?
You've reinforced for me again the need for nightly affirmations.
Jan?
I'm the same with V, the nightly affirmation. I can see
Beautiful.
that that's what.
Beautiful. Stan?
Why, he was getting me with these words. I'm like, follow through.
Great. Joe?
Got more like two. Release and relax.
Nice. Callie?
Self-accountability.
Beautiful. Okay, brothers and sisters, I am out of here. I got another coaching client before I can go to bed. We will see you guys next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.